And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Always Pressing PGA DFS podcast. We are back after a little hiatus here, and we are here to preview the 2022 RBC Canadian Open. It's going to be a fun one up there in old Canada. Check out the podcast on Twitter at Always Press DFS. I'm at B Dietrich, and my coach is always on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. Jesse, how we doing, man?
I'm doing well. I feel like we need to do like a kind of like a Kevin Na type of statement as far as to our fan. Did you see his statement to my fan?
Yes.
So like to our fan out there, we apologize for being off the last couple of weeks. Just life stuff happening, just different stuff, and we apologize. But I'm glad to be back. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, life stuff is happening. Life stuff is pretty much better now. So we are going to rock and roll. And like I told Jesse right before I hit record, barring something stupid, we'll be back with you guys each and every week like we used to be. So should be back business as usual. Thanks for those that have checked in. Thanks for those in the Fantasy Degens Discord that are still playing golf and having fun in there. So we're back at it, and we're here to preview the Canadian Open. Obviously, if you want live golf talk, like we could talk about it some other time if you want. We can briefly hit it here. There's chatter everywhere. Mayo's doing it. Any podcast you listen to, they're talking about it. I want to see the first event before I get too excited or too downplayed of it. Like, it's cool. You got DJ, you got Phil Fowler might be going. Pat Perez apparently might be going to Portland. That one dropped today.
Which is weird to me because like he was on the Subpar Golf podcast back in February, was like dogging it the whole thing, and like So I mean, maybe he sees the money and the potential and is like, let's go. I mean, obviously everybody's had their take on it, and I don't know. It sucks from the perspective of like the golf fan who wants to see all the best golfers every week. But we don't get that on the PGA Tour anyway. So, I mean, why not have something alternative? And it's going to be different. I'm surprised they didn't live stream the draft today.
Like, that was a wasted opportunity. Like, you could have totally had some fun with that.
Why don't we have the Live YouTube channel, and that's the first thing that's on there is this draft, and we're gonna
World Cup draw, but do the draft and Live. Like, it'd been perfect.
I mean, to me, it just seems like
simple.
Really easy thing to get people kind of involved really quickly, but their whole. I think what's made people laugh about it is just kind of the whole perspective of how they've done things so far. It's been very elementary. Mm-hmm. And just not as professional as you would think with as much money as involved here. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the golf is like, what the team event's like. Did you see how much money these guys are going to make? For just playing, just showing up.
This is why I can't blame anyone for doing it.
I can't
personally. Like, I get it. When you want to be the best of the best, you want to be on the PGA Tour because you want to win the trophies and everything. They're still getting to play in the majors if you can qualify. Right. And that's a big if still because of OWGR, and they might have to play on the Asia Tour. And EPAT from the Score I saw him on a Twitter thread, made a great point that if Tiger's little slap and play in Bahamas can get OWGR points,
I saw that
Live should be able to get them too, because that's actually a better field, a deeper field. So that'll be something to monitor as well. But it's like I mentioned Pat Perez, like we talked about, because the Portland event's in a couple weeks. Fowler's supposed to be going over there. You're going to see some more dudes show up now once they see Dustin basically tee it up and like kind of break the mold. You're going to see some other guys go and realize, okay, if we do this, this, and this, because you mentioned the money, was like $40 million a week or something.
Yeah, $4 million to first.
Yeah, $4 million to first, which you don't get anywhere basically.
No.
And then all just the guaranteed money, like DJ got around 150, Phil apparently close to 200 million. Like, that's just insanity.
I heard they offered Tiger over 500 million.
Yeah, I can't remember what show I was listening to, because I listened to a few different shows just because I was curious about the live stuff. Like, everyone's got their opinion, like you said, but I think it was one like Rappaport. I forget his first name. He works for like Golf Channel or something. Daniel, yeah. He was on maybe the Pat McAfee show, actually. And he was saying they said upper hundreds of millions.
Right.
And so the speculation is it was anywhere from $800 to $900 million. And for Tiger to say no, which given Tiger's got all the money in the world, like he basically owns Nike, he's going to own probably whatever he wants, basically. Like, he could just name his price for the PGA Tour. They invented PIP for him, basically. But it'll be interesting to see where that goes with more of these players, because if they keep getting more of these guys to go, then they still get to play in the majors. And now you got a limited, like, literally you play 4 months a year instead of 12. Like, that's what some of these guys have said, and I don't blame them. Like, if I can make all this life-changing money. Like Taylor Gooch is going to probably make $50 million or something. He'll never make that probably in his career playing PGA golf.
No, he wouldn't. He had to win a lot to do that. Yes, for sure.
So it makes sense.
It does. The only reason I can see why it's even a question is because of where that money comes from. And obviously we're not a political show, and so I get why people are like, this is a little bit fucked 100%. Up. But I mean, if they offered me money to go play on that tour, I don't know that I would turn it down. Well, I mean, obviously I'm not a professional golfer, but I think the reason Tiger's not going is he's got the wins record to try to break. I think he's tied with Byron Nelson right now, and then obviously too, he's going to try to go after the the majors record. Yeah, and he knows that like he wants to stay in good graces with the PGA. So
yeah, and like Feinberg, who everybody knows if you listen to the show, he said there's probably a good chance that Tiger like own the senior tour, so like you can't.
I saw that tweet. Yeah,
they get stakes in that, which makes a ton of sense. So that's interesting. And then the other thing I actually I was in a thread with Feinberg on that I think is very interesting, because if you look at this field, you have some amateurs or some young guys. I could foresee like some college kids, kind of like NIL stuff, jumping over here before they even try to get a PGA card. So they've never been in the PGA Tour. It's like leaving college early, basically.
Yep.
Going over there making millions of dollars, and you're like, okay, now I'm ready to go to the PGA. Like, what's to stop that from happening?
Right. I agree.
That could get fun.
I mean, and going back to your, we'll golf ranking, like why would this not have OWGR points if if you got a field of a bunch of professional golfers? I mean, just why would it not count?
So it's going to, and it's going to make things interesting. And it's 54-hole events, and the shotgun start's bizarre but interesting. And there's just so many things that I think we'll probably keep talking about weekend, like a little bit here and there as we see events take place. And like I said, there's going to be a lot more big names, maybe not huge names, but bigger names, or more household names. They're going to start jumping out in the next few weeks. They're going to make people go, oh.
There was one guy that surprised me. That's Taylor Gooch. The rest of them,
it's because he's so young and kind of on the cusp.
Right. And he was, playing really good golf for the last year or so. But I mean, dollar signs, man, money talks. So
it's a lot of dollar signs.
Yes,
so we'll check that out. And we missed the PGA. We missed a couple of big tournaments. JT got the latest major. Scheffler almost won another tournament after missing a cut, but Sam Burns keeps getting it done. Any highlights from recent weeks? We've missed a little bit of time here, but we don't have to go into it too much. But anything that stood out to you over the last few weeks?
I've had more lowlights than anything else. Like I had a pretty good lineup last weekend. Cam Young shot 84 on Sunday. So I mean, yeah, it's been golf, but I mean, I feel like it's most likely if you're listening to this, you've already heard about it. So I say we just hop into the Canadian Open.
Canadian Open time, and it's a top-heavy field, as you'll hear everywhere. It's 156 golfers. We've had, if you follow Bolton on Twitter, there's 8 changes already because of withdrawals and everything. So a lot of guys coming in and out. So keep an eye on that as you build your lineups. But what do you got for some past event history? It's been a few years.
Yeah, so the last iteration of this tournament was in 2019, pre-COVID. The last 2 years was canceled due to obviously the pandemic. Rory won it last time, which was in 2019, 22 under, but that was at Hamilton Golf Club. The 4 times before that were at Glen Abbey. That was DJ won that. Vegas back-to-back in 16 and 17. Jason Day in 15. The last time it was held at this golf course, Carl Peterson won the golf tournament, 14 under, and he won it one shot over Dean Wilson, 2010.
Everything you need to know right there, folks.
Yeah. That was back before I was like grinding the PGA Tour. So I remember Carl Peterson when we first started playing, PGA DFS I guess it was around 2015. He was still playing then, but he's obviously since gone on to other things.
Yep, it's changed quite a bit with him. But like you said, it's 2010 here. It's usually at Glen Abbey, and apparently they're going to rotate it quite a bit here in the upcoming years. But St. George's Golf and Country Club, it's a par 70, a little over 7,000 yards, not too much more. There's 5 par 3s, 3 par 5s, 10 par 4s. The par 3s range in all distances. 3 of them are over 200 yards. The rest of them are below 200. All 3 par 5s are very gettable in 2. I believe it's 6 or 7 of the par 4s are 400 to 450 with a couple below 400. So you're going to be looking at the par 4s 450 to 500 basically. Par 3 scoring, par 5 scoring will be very important as usual. The greens are bent POA overseed, so a little mix, as we've seen most of the Canadian golf courses have, like Glen Abbey had those and others. They're rather small, undulating greens surrounded by bunkers. So if you're missing your target, you're going to have to do some scrambling, and a lot of it involves bunker play. So that's important. Fairways are rather narrow. Most of the time, at least back in 2010, the rough wasn't too bad, but there's rumors with the U.S. Open next week that they're growing the rough out, and it's going to be tricky. So if you can find anything on that, that's what you want to go. If the rough isn't bad, then accuracy is not nearly important. As you'd expect, you can bomb it more. But with being a short course, most will take less than driver already. Try to find the fairway. Approach game will be very, very important. And that's the gist of it. It's just I think it's accuracy off the tee, solid approach game, scramble a little bit if you can, get hot with the putter, small greens. What are you looking at this week?
Yeah, I mean, that's similar stuff. I obviously back in 2010, the winning score was 14 under. So it's not a super easy golf course. It's just kind of middle of the road. I still like waiting birdie or better over bogey avoidance, especially if you're trying to find a winner. If you're trying to find cut makers, obviously you can find those guys who just avoid bogeys as much as possible and are kind of par makers. I'd say the cut would be close to, I would say even, somewhere around in there if I was guessing.
Yeah, this will be interesting because, like I said, it's a top-heavy field. The bottom's really bad. So it's got the Mexico Open vibe to it, but there's better players up top. So it's not just John Rahm by himself this week. But it's going to be interesting builds. Let's put it that way. So let's get into those builds. Let's talk some DK for the week here, and we'll start 10K and above. Scotty Scheffler's 11-1, JT's 10-9, Rory 10-5, Cam Smith 10-3, Shane Lowry 10-1, and Sam Burns wraps up a loaded $10,000 range.
Yep. Start with Scheffler up top for me. I mean, pretty much every week he's in the field, I'm just going to play him. Surprised he didn't play last week at the Memorial. I would have actually liked to play him last week, but besides the miscut to PGA Championship where he just absolutely trunk slammed coming home on Friday, apparently I was actually in a golf tournament myself like that whole week, so I did not really pay a hell of a lot of attention, but from what I was told, he just basically just trunk slam coming in on Friday. I mean, he's just playing obviously really good golf. 3 wins this year, second place his last time out at the Charles Schwab Challenge. Cam Smith would be another guy that I would most definitely play. I mean, like pretty much Cam, Shane Lowry, and Scotty Scheffler, I'm just going to play them until they quit playing so well. In particular, if you look at Shane Lowry, he hasn't missed a cut this year, playing solid golf. I feel like a win's coming for him soon. Could it be this week? I mean, it could, but I like Shane. It just sucks that they're all three, above 10K because this field is so bad. After, like you said, after about 7,000.
It's tough. Like Burns and up are they're ranked 13th or better in my model. If you take Burns out, Lowry and up are 8th or better in my model. Like they're all Lowry's 3rd, Scheffler's 1st. These are all elite plays to say the least. You're kind of cherry picking it. So you want to play ownership, you can. Lowry and Rory at this moment are projected to be the highest, but they're all projected to be about 14% or better right now. So they're all going to be pretty popular and spread out up here. I think Scheffler is the way to go if you can. I love what Scotty's doing. At the same time, if it is an accuracy in the fairway, shot maker's golf course, that can bring JT into play in a big, big way. So that's intriguing with JT at 10-9. But I can't disagree with anything you said with Cam Smith, Shane Lowry. They're all great plays in this one. I guess you have to be picky if you're worried about accuracy off the tee. Thomas, Cam Smith, and Sam Burns are not great at finding the fairway compared to the rest of them. But like literally, I'm just nitpicking at little things right now. They're all outstanding golfers and are rated very highly. Like Sam Burns is number 1 in this field in par 5 scoring, and you want to be very good in par 5 scoring. All 6 of these guys, if you want to just do DK scoring, are 7th or better in this field. The top 5 guys in DK scoring are in this 10K range. So it's going to be hard to avoid them. Usually, like Jesse and I'll have a lot of tournaments like, we're just going to skip the 10K range.
Right.
It's going to be tough to avoid these guys and try to make some money this week.
It's very well justified with those prices for those guys this week.
Yeah, they are elite. All right, 9K range, which is a gigantic 9K range. Matt Fitzpatrick, who ruined me last weekend, is $9,900. HV3 97, Connors 96, Hatton 95, Finau 94, Hadwin 93, Munoz 92, Kirk 91, and Keith Mitchell up to $9,000, more expensive than Taco Tits himself. So what do you like in the 9K range?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Fitzpatrick coming off the miscut there, that was tough last week. I'm not 100% sure what
Worst
the
putting week of his
putter.
career.
There you go. Yeah, the putting. Yeah, I can see that now. It's
He's
very
like 7
red on
strokes
Fantasy
putting.
Labs. I mean, previous to that, he had 2 straight top 2s and he missed a cut. 2 straight top 15s, missed cut. 2 straight top. I mean, like his worst finish, if he makes the cut, is 14th since the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am back in February. I mean, that's pretty solid. And in my opinion, a great GPP play. I would think his ownership would be less this week after the miscut, although, I mean, it only came down a little bit after his last miscut, and it was just similar, the time before he missed the cut. So, he's about 18% owned last week. We could hopefully get him around 15%, which I think is totally fine, and I'll play Fitzpatrick for sure. Connors at 9,600. From just obviously the guy's a great ball striker. If he can just make some putts and maybe potentially this isn't as tough of is a little bit of a more tough of a track, so it's not a putting fest like we're used to. He played pretty well last week, finished 13th at the Memorial. Hatton at 9,500. Kind of surprised he's not in London, but he hasn't missed a cut since he started playing on the PGA Tour this year back in March at the API. So solid golfer. I would trust him to make the cut this week as well. Munoz at 9,200. I mean, he gets some. He's definitely get a look for me. Just because he played well at the Byron Nelson, which he finished 3rd, and he was in contention for a long time. And he also has not missed a cut in a long time. The American Express was his last missed cut. Chris Kirk playing solid golf as well. This is a pretty good range. Kirk has 3 straight made cuts. I mean, of the guys up here, like Kirk would be like lowest on my list, but I feel like that's going to be the same for everybody else too. So you might be able to get him at some lower ownership. He did finish 5th at the PGA Championship, 15th Charles Schwab, and 53rd last week. So 3 straight made cuts and solid finishes there for Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk is 7th in my model, so I'm intrigued by him. He's great around the green, great tee to green, 5th in opportunities gained over the last 24 rounds in this field. So I do like Kirk quite a bit. It's a great range all around. Like I will 100% be going back to Fitzpatrick. He's 2nd in my model. It was the worst putting week of his career. His 2nd worst putting week of his career. Same golf tournament time before. Like he's one of the better putters on tour. So it was kind of I was going to notch that one up to variance right there. He just could not get the putter going, but I'll go right back to him at 9,900. HV3 and Munoz are the 2 interesting ones to me because they seem like they're a little mispriced in this range. Both really good golfers. Like HV3 is 9th in my model, 6th in DK scoring in the last 24 rounds. Munoz is 14th. He's 2nd in par 4s, 450 to 500. So you could get some low ownership on those guys, but you can't go wrong. I think Connors and Hadwin are going to get a lot of pub being the Canada guys up here. So I'm probably just going to ignore them completely, and it might backfire on me. But Fitz is the main dog I want here, but you can make arguments for all these guys like Hatton, Finau. Finau is one that just gets overlooked week in and week out now because people are kind of fed up with him, but he's been slowly putting some good golf together. He's 4th in my model, so he could be a guy that you could sneak in here at some low ownership and make a difference as well in the 9K range. 8K range, you got Patty Reed at 89, Rose 88, Thigala 87, Vegas 85, Mac Hughes 84, Hogard 83, Todd 82, CT Pan 81. If you didn't get I don't even know what a Cinco bogey, a hectagon bogey, whatever. If you thought a 10 on a par 5
I was going to talk
on
about
Thursday.
That.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
So
yes,
what do you got here?
Because I played CT because he had some
I.
pretty good course history last week. And then made that 10, still made the cut, and just had an atrocious weekend. But Thigala at 87, he played solid golf last week. He was toward the top of the leaderboard, finished 5th. Hasn't missed a cut since the Players' Championship, probably on the wrong side of the draw at that one. He did miss the cut the week before that, the API, but has played solid golf over the last 2 months. And I feel like he's going to win at some point, within the next, I would say, calendar year. Brendan Todd, 8,200, another guy who's jumped back on the radar just off of recent form, finished 3rd at the Charles Schwab his last time out, did miss the cut to Byron Nelson. I mean, he's up and down and all around, but I think he's fine. And then, Pan at 8,100. like I said, just had just an absolutely terrible weekend. Made a bunch of birdies though during the weekday, and finished 53rd. He has not missed a cut since the Players Championship. So 2 straight months for him, or 3, I guess, at this point, of not missing a cut. Those are really only guys. Like, this is a tough range. Obviously, you could make a case for a couple of these other guys, but I mean, is it a Patty Reed week? I don't know. I mean, he got off the PXG driver.
He's trending better. He's trending better. I'm still not going to play him, but he's trending better. Let's put it that way. But I'm gonna getting rid of the PXG was big for him. It had to hurt him because that's probably expensive. But yeah, I'm gonna stay away from that.
He's still wearing a hat,
which is funny. So he must have some club in that bag. That
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know with these guys. It's all about the money, like we said. Like, how is he not in London right now?
Him and Rose both.
Yeah, like Reed has no reason to stay on the PGA Tour. 0 reason to stay on the PGA Tour. Yeah. So that's a very interesting one to me. Maybe he'll be in Portland in a couple weeks. For me, like, I have Theegala as well, playing some really good golf. He's probably maybe more cash than GPP, but he's shown some GPP appeal as well. I like Johnny Vegas this week, 24th in my model, 7th in par 5 scoring, 10th in DK scoring. If he can get off the tee, he's got a chance to make some noise. So he could be a fun. He's had great success at this tournament, different golf course, of course, but he does like playing up here. But Johnny at 85 has my attention. I like Brendan Todd as well, especially if we're looking for fairway finders on a short golf course. That's Brendan Todd 101. And then CT Pan, I'll go right back to him. I hope people got pissed off about the poor finish last week, but I like him to make the cut and make some noise. He's 20th in my model, 7th in par 3 scoring, 10th in good drives, 6th in approach. So I'll go with some CT Pan with you as well. 75 to 79 has a lot of names, Jesse. So who do you like?
Yeah, not a lot, to be honest with you. It starts to get really sketchy below 8K here, but Aaron Rai at 7,900, definitely like him. Coming off 26th place finish at the Memorial, 68th the week before that, 46th the week before that. He's just playing well. I've played him a bunch, and he's hitting a bunch of fairways. Just kind of his problem last week was hitting the green, so that's a little bit concerning with small greens this week, but I'm sure he can get it fixed with both his gloves on and all of his covers. And then, like, the only other guy like that I got checked off here is Dylan Fratelli. And the reason it's Dylan Fratelli is because the dude has not missed a cut since the Phoenix Open. Not necessarily a great finish. Did finish 8th at the Texas Open, which is his best finish since then. But just basically making cuts, and in this type of field, might be able to sneak inside the top 20, which is all you would really need.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And that's it. Like, literally, I can't. I've tried to make cases, and I clicked on all these guys, and I just can't do it.
I got a few more, but Aaron Rai, he's 16th in my model, 4th in par 4s, 450 to 500. I like the way he's playing as well. I have Dylan Fratelli as well. He's 32nd in my model, and he's just nothing super flashy, but he's consistently like putting up, he's like 20th in this thing, 40th in this one. Like, he's just kind of all across the board, and he's 22nd in opportunities gained, so he's giving himself a chance. If he gets hot with the putter, that's going to be big. But some other guys, if you're talking tournaments, I'm always a fan and a sucker for Mark Hubbard, because when he gets hot, he gets real hot. He's 19th in my model. He's 8th in the proximity I'm looking at, 24th in DK scoring. So he's interesting in tournaments. Adam Long as well. He's 26th in my model. He's a good fairway finder. If he can just get the putter going, he's interesting in tournaments. That's kind of where you're at in tournaments in this area, of course. The other two I'll mention is Tyler Duncan's 15th in my model. Putting's always his weakness. Other than that, great par 3 score, good on the proximities I'm looking at, decent fairway finder. So he'd be one. And then Smotherman, I believe he's a Canadian, actually. He'd be one to keep an eye on. 29th in my model, 9th in opportunities gained in this field. He's horrible around the green, though. So if he's not finding the green, that could be a quick exit there. But these are definitely GPP type plays as you get down here. So be very, very careful. 7K to 74, Jesse, who you liking?
Again, I've only got 2 I can really click on. I mean, it's rough, dude. I wasn't Perez, like, what was his price before he withdrew? Was it like 8K or something?
75, I believe I had him right here. 76.
Yeah, see, I was going to really want to play him. Like,
he was rating good, too.
Yeah, I mean, he played pretty well last week, but I guess he's going to go after the money. But either way, Lipsky at 7,300. 3 straight made cuts for him, all inside the top 50. Finished 6th at the Mexico Open a couple months ago, or a month ago at this point. He's just a dude who's made more cuts than he's missed, which is really, really good in this range. Nick Hardy at 7,200 is another guy. The model likes him. Why, I don't know. Miscut. Didn't miss a cut, then a bunch of miscuts. I mean, it's sketch. So I just, you tell me, man. Like, you probably have a better idea of some of these guys down here than I do. I just can't figure out who to play.
Now, this area comes down to, do you believe the stats or do you believe current form? Because if you believe current form, Milan Grillo has played well his last 3 or 4 golf tournaments, but it's Grillo. He ranks 78th in my model. It's like nothing. He's horrible on par 5 scoring. He's 110th in opportunities gained, so doesn't like super appealing to me. But if you look at current form, he's there. Johnny Huh is very interesting. He's 35th in my model. He's like 17th in opportunities gained. He finds the fairways pretty well. His proximity is not ideal, but everything else is pretty solid. Like, he's got a Fratelli looking stat line for a little bit cheaper. So he's interesting. I like Lipsky a lot. I had him as well. 6th in par 5 scoring in this field, 9th in opportunities gained, 8th in DK scoring. So he's interesting. Steven Yeager at 73. He's 34th in my model. He's 9th in par 3 scoring, 10th in the proximity I'm looking at. If he can find the fairway, he should be able to put some birdie chances together for you. I'm a sucker for Nate Lashley. He's been very, very polarizing of late, but he still rates out phenomenally. He's horrible on par 5 scoring, but everything else he's really good at. Par 4s, 450 to 500. He's 11th. He's 19th in good drives, 15th in DK scoring over the last 24 hours, 25th in approach. So Lashley at 72. And then you'll get some Svensson talks. He's the Canadian that people love at 71. And then Dougie Gim at 28 at 7K. He's 28th in my model, 8th off the tee, but not doing much else. Like, I don't love Gim at all. Like, I had Novak down here because he's just making cuts, but it's not great. So, yeah, not a lot to love down here, basically. Like, Lashley, Yeager, Lipsky, Johnny Huh would be the kind of guys I look at, but it's bad. It's real bad.
It's going to make it tough to play one of those 10K guys too, man.
Yeah, because it gets worse.
No, it does.
Or, in all honesty, I'd almost rather just play these 6K guys than the 7K guys than play the 10K guy. That's where I kind of sit, because there's really not a ton separating a lot of the 8s to 7s to 6s guys here. Not much,
right,
when you really break it down. So take the gamble and take the big dog up top and see what happens. Speaking of the 6K range, who you like in here?
So at the top, Brandon Wu at 6,900. I think he's mostly been on the Korn Ferry Tour, but he did play
last week.
Actually, he's been playing actually quite a bit on the PGA Tour. 69th, made the cut at the Memorial, shot 80 both days on the weekend.
And he had an eagle on Sunday too.
He shot 80 with an eagle.
Yep, it was an impressive eagle too, because they showed it to make sure like it was like a 5 foot off the deck or something. But
maybe you can answer this question for me. What the hell happened on Sunday? Did you watch golf on Sunday? I didn't watch any.
A little bit. I was watching a little bit at home. So
was the wind blowing?
No, just
the greens that hard.
Yeah, some guys were just having some shit luck. Like it was the profile. If you didn't find the fairways, you're in trouble. And like that was Cam Smith's biggest problem. He was finding the rough left and right off the tee, and that just brutalized him. But yeah, Wu is all over the place except one par 5, and he like navigated the 2 bunkers and it rolled up nicely for the eagle. Other than that, it was not pretty.
Well, I mean, if you look at Wu, he's hitting. Last week he hit 65% of the fairways, but then missed like almost half the green. So, and scrambling was not good. I mean, it's a wonder he made the cut, but obviously he did. Justin Lower at 6,800 is another guy. He did miss the cut last week, but before that he had made 3 straight cuts on tour. So he's another guy that I would look at. Callum Tarrant at 67. Is a guy that has made 3 consecutive cuts on tour. His last time out was the Byron Nelson. He finished 46th. He does have about equal miscuts to made cuts this year, but again, this is where we're at. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I went through a lot of these guys down here too. It's hard for me to click on very many of them. Like Sam Ryder, I would normally want to play.
Yeah.
But he hasn't made a cut since the Players.
Yeah. I'm with you. I was looking at him. I'm like, how's he down here with the rest of these guys?
Yeah, right. I was like, oh, this is be great. The Sam Ryder's down here. Yeah. No, he hasn't made a cut in 2 months.
Yep. I'm with you. I was looking. For me, I got a couple, but it's not pretty. Like if I just follow the model, Luke Donald's 31st in my model. He's first in this field in par 3 scoring. He's first in proximity 175 to 200. He's 124th on par 5s, so that's not ideal. But he's 25th in DK scoring in this field. 25th. Luke Donald. Just keep that in mind over the last 24 rounds. Vaughn Taylor's 12th in my model. 8th in par 3 scoring, 5th in the proximity, 10th in fairways gained, 9th in opportunities gained in this field. These are not sexy names, but you could at least see like Taylor make the cut. I'm not saying he's going to. You could see on a short plotting course with small greens like Pebble Beach, you could see Taylor making the cut. If you want some GPP plays, Satoshi Kodaira, he's the guy that's always boom or bust. So at 67, he's 3rd in proximity, 9th in opportunities gained in this field. Horrific in the par 4s we're looking at. Bad putter. I like the Caleb Taryn call. He's 89th in my model. He cannot drive the ball in the fairway to save his life, but he's 143rd in the field in fairways gained. But he's 19th in opportunities gained over the last 24 rounds and 12th in DK scoring. So that's a great GPP play at $6,700. That is the example of boom or bust. And then if you want 2 punts, one guy I've been punting with a lot this year is Scott Gajewski. He's 40th in my model. Can't putt worth a lick, but he can birdie in bunches. He's 27th in opportunities gained. I've tilted him many weeks. He's either made the cut or just missed it for me, but he's always cheap. So he's 65. And then David Lingmer's 22nd in my model. It's not pretty, but he's 19th in proximity, 40th in DK scoring. It's ugly. Like Jesse said, you don't want to be down here if you don't want to. Let me just throw like a name out to you just for fun. Like you have Dylan Woo's down here, but he's been playing horrible. Like Danny Lee's down here. He's a guy we've seen at least get stuff done from time to time. Barjan's down here. Carlos Ortiz has been playing horribles down here. Bryce Garnett's actually decently ranked down here. You got Harry Higgs. You have, and then the other one I was looking at, Hayden Buckley was a very popular name recently. He's down here as well. So I don't know. It sucks, but there's at least guys we've seen GPP wise click from time to time.
Yeah, this might be the only I don't think it's true, but this might be the only week that the Live Tour has a better field than
possible
PGA Tour.
But this is why like that Mexico Open, Rahm and like all 7K guys won the thing. Like you didn't want to dig in, you didn't want to double dip up top and get the sixes. Yeah, we'll see how this one goes. We'll have to build some lineups and see how it plays out. But in order to do so, let's recap things real quick. Who is your top K in the 10K and above?
I'm going to say Shane Lowry, just for the simple fact that it saves a little bit of money. I'm going to obviously love Scotty Scheffler, but I'm going to say Shane Lowry.
Yeah, Lowry's 3rd from my model. Scheffler's 1st. I'll be slightly different, and I'll say Justin Thomas because I think he might be one of the lower owned in this range. But, they're all phenomenal plays, as we mentioned before. 9K range, who you like?
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Fitz is the play. If you have to take someone besides Fitz, I would say Chris Kirk for me at 91. 8K range.
It is Thigala.
I'll go Johnny Vegas. Johnny Vegas for me. 75 to 79.
Aaron Rye.
I'll go with Adam Long. 7K to 74.
Lipsky.
I like Lipsky a lot. I think that's a great play this week. I will go with Nate Lashley. God, it's ugly. 6K range.
I'll say Justin Lower.
I'll just say punt it and go Gajewski. Just hope he runs hot on the par 5s. Just hope he runs hot. Cash games are going to be very tough this week with this. Like you have to go as balance can be. So where would you start your cash lineups at?
Yeah. I mean, like I would think like Hatton kind of starting there. That still leaves 8,100, so you don't have to dip super low. Fratelli would be another one, and then Rye. I guess I don't feel good about that lineup as far as.
Yeah, it's tough. I go Chris Kirk, Brendan Todd, and CT Pan. That's where I would go for now. But tournaments, this is a great tournament week. As much as people might not want to believe that, where would you start your tournament builds at?
We're gonna go Lowry, Fitzpatrick, and then Lipsky. It still leaves almost 7,600.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all, actually. Yeah. I'm gonna go Fitz. Give me Fitz, Chris Kirk, and Johnny Vegas, and we'll see where things take us from there. That could be a lot of fun as well. When we go to DKSportsbook.com, we get to see the odds. Scheffler's plus 700, JT's plus 700. Those are your two favorites this week. Anything stand out to you? As you'd have to imagine one of the big dogs wins, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't have the odds pulled up, so you go ahead.
Yeah, there's nothing I really like. It's like it's the big dogs. Like Matt Fitzpatrick 16-1, but that doesn't feel comfortable at all. Like
Yeah,
HV3 is 22-1. That is insane.
yeah, that's really
Maybe
low. There's some value there with Finau at 30,
yeah, that's not bad for
but he
Finau.
just doesn't ever win.
I think this is like I know it's a lazy answer, but I guess it's a great week for like top 20 bets. Like just take some of these bombs at the bottom and see where they roll.
Yeah, that's about the only route.
Even Johnny Vegas is plus 225 to top 20. Like that's not horrible. Aaron Rise plus 300, Lipsky's plus 300. You can probably have a little more fun that way.
Yeah, I would definitely not. I mean, unless you can parlay like one of those top guys with somebody that gets some good odds that you really think is going to win, it's really, really difficult. Lowry at 16 is not terrible, but do I want to bet Lowry to win at 16-1 against JT and Scheffler and Cam Smith? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. There's no sugarcoating this one at all. And I was gonna see they don't have it. They don't have the live tour here. I know there's odds for live, but they don't have it on DK. So I was gonna have some fun with that. I heard DJ's plus 350 to win that thing. So that's where we're at on that one. But
should be even money.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Even though he hasn't played that well, but like none of those guys who've gone over there,
it's an Usti week, dude. It's
actually lightening it up. Yeah, I could see that. I could see
Usti. And it's in London, so you could probably get like your Westwoods, your McDowells, one of those guys to do some things. It's gonna be interesting because the best part about that live deal is if DJ sucks, oh man, it's gonna be electric. It's gonna be electric.
Sure. So, I mean, and he's kind of stuck at this point because they gave him so much money and he's committed, he's resigned. So, but I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if he plays well to him.
Think about this. I almost tweeted it today, but I didn't. So say the live tour like falls in like 3 years, just gone, and all these guys resigned.
Yeah,
so they have to go back to the Corn Ferry Tour to qualify for the PGA card.
There was apparently there is a like a clause in their contract, which I think Tron Carter from No Laying Up tweeted out today that they have to like wait a year. Like they have to apply for reinstatement, then wait a year to get back in.
Okay.
And then they resume where they were, something along those lines. But
so
yeah, I mean,
status whenever they want to come back.
It might amount to somebody like Taylor Gooch, obviously, who is young, potentially having to go back through the Corn Ferry to qualify.
That'd be electric. Yeah. That'd be so much fun seeing some of these dudes have to go back to the Corn Ferry. That'd be awesome. But
yeah, I mean, I doubt DJ would do that.
No, DJ, he's already counting his money, and him and Pauline are doing their thing, so they're more than okay right about now.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a fun one. See how it goes this weekend in London. Shotgun starts, 54 holes, like team play.
What time is it starting? Do we know?
I have no idea, but I'm looking forward. Like I'm weirdly looking forward to it, just because I want it to succeed because I want to see what other big names go to Portland. Like I want the chaos to continue.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think the chaos is good for golf because it creates more of a buzz.
There's so much buzz on golf right now.
The problem is though, over in London, obviously they're way ahead of us in time, so it might be in the middle of the night, and the damn thing will be over with before we even wake up. Especially you.
Yeah, I'm screwed. But
Portland will be fun though.
Portland will be a blast. That's right on my time zone, so we're good there. So we'll see how that goes.
But I don't even know if they've even have a TV deal or anything yet. Like last I'd heard, they didn't have one.
I heard YouTube. It's going to be broadcast live on their YouTube or something. How well that'll be.
Again, missed opportunity to start drawing people and get some subscribers into their YouTube with the fucking draft today.
Because they apparently brought one of the former Golf Channel guys over to be their main announcer.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm hearing little tidbits today, so we'll see how that all plays out. Going to be fun. More importantly, we got PGA Tour action, the RBC Canadian Open this week. So, hopefully, you guys do well there. We'll be back with you guys next week for the third major of the season, the U.S. Open. I believe it's at Brookline Country Club, so that should be an absolute blast and a fun one there because Phil's going to come back for that.
Yep.
DJ's going to come back for that, so it'll really make the conversations loud and fun.
There'll be some questions, man. Do you think they even do press conferences?
They're going to have to. That's probably isn't part of the deal.
I would think.
I think it's mandatory. So it'll be fun.
Yeah,
it'll be a lot of. I'm looking forward to get the popcorn ready, folks.
Should be a good week.
But make sure you guys check out Jesse on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods, the podcast at Always Press DFS, and I am on Twitter at BDentric. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you guys next week. This was your 2022 RBC Canadian Open preview. Catch you all later.